Okay, hi again, everyone. Thanks for your patience. Just wanted to give a chance for a couple more people to arrive to the session today. So, hi again, it's Emma here at Function Point in Vancouver. We're going to go for about a half hour, probably max 45 minutes today, going over the projects module. Of course, your questions are more than welcome as we go. I'll be keeping an eye on those. I don't have a co pilot today. We're a bit of a lean team today. People, guess, getting out there doing a bit of holiday shopping or meeting with family before as we approach the end of the year here. So let me know as those questions come in. Otherwise, I will just be blabbing at you about projects. So let's get started. I'm just here on the Function Point website here, and this is where I'm going to log into my test system. I will point out that we have updated our website recently to include a really nifty little video. I'm super amused by it, and you may be as well. It'll come up just in the scroll by screens here. Yeah, this little guy here. It's also on our YouTube channel. It only goes for 3 minutes, but I find it's a really great way to explain to friends, like, what does Function Point do? It's like, watch the 3-minute video. It's a really good explanation of how we endeavor to help out creative agencies like yourselves. All right, let's get into the login. And if we need to stray today from the subject matter, that's not a problem either. So feel free, people on the line, if you've got a pressing question about something that may not be project module related, that's totally fine as well. I'm happy to answer that. Something I want to point out as well, I just logged in there very successfully. We did have a number of clients this morning, though, that were having login issues, and that was stemming from an Amazon DNS related matter. A little over my head there. I'm assured it won't happen. Excuse me, it won't be something that happens again. And that the best way to resolve that, if you're having any login issues today, is to just clear your cache. That's affecting every browser. Just clear your cache. I had the same issue when I first arrived, and now I've got no problems. All right. So here I am in my test environment, and the projects module is just one that sits right in your main navigation bar there. Unlike the other modules in that main nav bar, it's got the find, view, which is going to show you recent projects, and add. Now, we do see some clients change this to be a different word. The word I see it changed most often to is campaigns. I have also seen it change to files, though. What I think of the project module as is like a really great organizational tool. I have heard some of my colleagues in the room also refer to it as like an umbrella, a file folder. I think of it as just a really great organizational tool. What we can do, and what my plan is for today, is to go in and add a project from scratch, just point out some of those fields, shouldn't take us too long, and show from there how you can start putting estimates and jobs and briefs and schedules and everything else within that project. Then I also wanted to show you how you can use projects sort of in the other direction. If you end up with a bunch of estimates and jobs in your system, and then you go, oh, shoot, those would have actually been really nicely organized within a project, how you can kind of back organize them into a project that you don't necessarily need to start with one in order to have jobs organized within one. All right, so let's begin. And again, please chime in if there are any questions, concerns about this subject or other subjects that may be on your mind today. Let's go into projects. We're going to choose Add Project. Pretty straightforward so far. So we've landed on our Project Add Edit page. And like most other areas of Function Point, we've got some yellow fields that are going to be required and some white fields that are optional. I'm going to give the project a name. Can really be whatever you like. And again, like most areas of FP, if you put in the project name and then the next day you think, oh, I spelled something wrong, or actually I want to rename that, you do have the option. You're not going to be locked into any decision you make on this screen. Just going to want to make your, obviously, best, make your best effort and then change things as needed. So I'm going to call this project, let me see, I should have put my creative hat on before I got on the call today. Let's call this 2014 Collateral. It's for my company, which I've named Chicken Scratch Design. I can choose an account executive if I want to. This is from among my team members who have the account executive permission. The company I'm doing this work for, I can put in. I'm going to do this for Xavier's. Could not find matching item. Goodness gracious. What have I done? There we go. My spelling is off. So Xavier School for Gifted Youngsters. I could put in a description. So project to handle all 2014 related work. Code. This one isn't populating automatically. We do give you the ability to type this in as you see fit. You have up to 10 characters to put in the code, and really it can be whatever you like. We see, I've worked with a couple of clients who get really, really concerned about the code, and I don't want that to happen. I want you guys to just chill out about the code, put whatever you like, and again, you'll have the opportunity to change it. The code is going to come up in areas such as the dashboard, where is if you're going with the like classic dashboard view and you have the jobs tile there is a column for projects. It doesn't have room to show the entire project name, and that's where it'll show the code. But as you hover over it, you'll see the full project name. So again, you don't have to make these perfect. You can come up maybe with a formula that works for you. Maybe you want to go with year, company code, and some other naming convention. I'm just going to go with 2014 Xavier's School for Gifted Youngsters and leave it as that. It will accept also dashes, I think even slashes as well in that code. So project type, drop down menu. So I have a choice here. Your system may have a few more or a few less. This being my test system, I have put in a few different ones, including this retainer for the year, month, or retainer campaign. But you can get creative if you want to have different project types in here that you can search by later. Then certainly please feel free to go ahead and do that. Making changes to these drop down menus happens back in list maintenance, which is in the admin section. And that has had a really nice makeover, that list maintenance area. I got a little sneak peek of it last night. I've gotten used to list maintenance the way it looks today, but the improvement is definitely there. So I'm going to choose this as a project. Status is open. PO number I don't have. And project budget is one I really like. Now, it's not required, but I think it's a great field to fill in, and I'll show you why in a minute. So I'm going to put in that the budget for the year is 20 grand. Sure, why not? We just click submit when ready. Okay, so that's brought us now into the project details page. And everything we selected, if I show the details here, everything I selected on the previous page is now here for me. If I needed to change anything, I've got that edit details button. What I really like here is this all this number stuff. And there's my budget, the 20 grand. And you can see that as we start putting in estimates, start tracking time and invoicing, that all those numbers are just going to be in that one little quick view for us. So I'm a fan of that. Of course, you will have financials and those kinds of tabs you can look at more in detail, but I like that little kind of quick glance up in the top right as to what's going on with my numbers. Okay, so very simply from here, we can see we've got all these tabs, but nothing filled in as yet. But we can see that there's the ability to have briefs, schedules, estimates, jobs, job financials, invoices, deposit invoices, and links, as well as files, all organized here under this project. What we see most clients do from here is they say, okay, so I've got this Xavier School for Gifted Youngsters project. Now I'm going to start. The school has called me. They want their first piece of collateral for 2014. I come into the project and I follow my usual routine of adding an estimate. I've already got the bonus of the company being filled in there. It's already associated to the project. I can just put in that they are, let's see, graduation programs, let's say. I can choose my estimate type. Let's see if I've got one that's appropriate. Let's just call it collateral. It's already got the company in there. I can associate someone from the school if I want to. Can put someone as the account executive. It's already, like I said, associated to that project for me. Pick my rate. Can put in a description. Put in a date that this particular job is due. And then like we do with other estimates, pick from amongst our service groups and services as to what it's going to take to get this done. And let's pick an outside cost for some printing as well. Ooh, photography printing. Can submit this. Now on my estimate details page, can put in hours if that's something that you do. Not required to do that. Put in what we may know already from our vendor. Save this, send it off to the client if they need to sign off on this perhaps. When you send it off to them, I think it's a good practice to get into moving this to a submitted status so you know it's with the client being reviewed. And then when the client comes back to you and says, yeah, that's great, move it to an approved status. Moving it to approved status, we're just getting a little reminder here that that will mean that any further changes we make to the estimate will be saved as a revision. Click continue. Turn this into real work by clicking add job. From here as needed, perhaps adding a schedule. Just going through this quickly because the main focus today again is projects, but just want to show you how you can build all these items out and they'll all be stored appropriately. You can build out a schedule if you want to, even as well. Back on the project, which I can get to through the breadcrumb. We're going to see that we've got lots of our tabs lit up now. So the schedules tab is lit up because I just made that schedule. The estimates tab has that one estimate we've made. We'll see the job under the jobs. And we'll see the financials under the financials. You can also see again up in that top corner, which I really dig, is the ability to see. So we've got just about 2,500 grand, or 2,500 grand, listen to me, $2,500 worth of estimated total so far. No actuals or invoiced amounts as yet. Client can come to us again. We can continue to add estimates, can invoice from the job level of the individual jobs or create project level invoices as needed, links, etc. Can print this up. We have all the abilities we do, but it's just really nicely organized within this project or campaign. Now, the other way that this happens, let's say we're just pop back to our dashboard here. Oh, and while I'm on the dashboard, I will point out, as I'm in the good old classic view here, that we can see there's that code just in the item above my mouse there, the code for the project. But as I hover over, I get both the code and the full name. So the code is really just there for places like this where there isn't enough room to show the whole project name. All right, so I can see right away from my dashboard, I've got a whole bunch of other jobs for Xavier School. And perhaps I think, well, these are all kind of free floating. These would be really nice to make part of a project. And I can really easily do that. Let's say for this orientation literature job, I think that would be really important to be part of the 2014 collateral project, just to organize it in that way. I can click on the job. Take me to that job. I can edit the job. And when I do that, I'm going to see I've got the project field. I don't even necessarily have to remember the exact name of the project. I could put in part of the name. Or if I click the little magnifying glass, it's going to find me any projects that are in place, that are open, that I have the opportunity to put jobs back into for this company. So I can do that. We've only got the one for this company in the system, and it pre-filled in that Xavier School project. Click submit. And again, I can use my breadcrumb to go back to the project, or I can use it from the top nav bar. And I'll now see very shortly here that under estimates, I now have 2. There's my orientation literature. My orientation literature one is also here. The system has also realized, oh, hey, you've invoiced for orientation literature, so that's been included, and the estimate totals have beefed up quite a bit. So it's very straightforward, like I said, to add a project from scratch, start putting jobs into it. Or if you've got jobs in place, you go, ooh, it would be nice to put them back to a project. You can create the project and feed jobs back. Let's just go through that one more time. Just back to the dashboard. This is one way to go about it. I could always find the job through the jobs module, but I happen to have those jobs for that company on my dashboard here once it opens up. So let's say I'd like to put these grad ceremony agendas in as part of that project. I can click on that job, edit that job, associate it to that project. I know it had 2014 in the name. Submit. And then going back to the project just to confirm. You can see my financials have changed again up in the top right there. And I've got now another job and estimate stored here. It's just as straightforward to disassociate, deassociate, unassociate as needed. Let's say I had associated a project to a job to this project in error, could easily come into it, edit again from the job details page, and just delete that. And that would deassociate this job from the project. So you're not stuck. Excellent. Let's just pop back to our dashboard. Now that was really the extent to which I was going to go into projects today. Haven't had any questions as yet, which is fine. We're only at 20 past the hour, though, so I feel badly that that didn't take me a little longer, or that we haven't had anyone get overly concerned with what we're seeing. I guess that's a good thing, though. If there are any questions, again, about projects or other subject matters, I'm more than happy to field them. You've got me. If you've got questions or concerns about other aspects of the system, I'm more than happy to address them. Projects, again, though, just to recap, I see them as a great way to organize work in your system. You can choose to use them, you can choose not to use them. The clients who do use them, I think, do find them to be of benefit, just again as a nice way to organize things, maybe by year for certain companies they work with. It can also be a great way to work with any client you may have on retainer, and that's something I can certainly walk us through if it would be of interest. Retainers, as we think of them, are when a client, let's say, has come to you and they said, okay, you know what, for the next year or 6 months, we're going to give you $2,000 a month if you do 2 jobs for us in that month or 20 jobs for us in that month. So retainers can be some months very beneficial and other months probably not so beneficial. That's how we think of retainers. And we have found that the best way to handle those kinds of jobs in your system is through the projects module. So let me just run through that, and then that may bring up some questions, or then I'll at least have kept you longer than 20 minutes and can let everyone then get on with their weekend. All right, let's come back into projects. And let's add a project. Let's say one of our clients has come to us with that proposal, probably phrased more nicely, saying, we're going to give you $2,000 a month for the whole year of 2014. And then we get to call you whenever we like and ask for work. And we may ask for some, we may ask for none, we may ask for lots. So let's call this project Retainer 2014. And we'll do this for Stark Industries. So Retainer project for client for 2014 calendar year. Obviously, these are just ideas of stuff I'm putting in. You're not obligated to use my phrasing. Client paying us $2,000 a month. Okay, so code, again, I can put in whatever I like. I call it RET 14 SI for Stark Industries. Project type, drop-down menu, totally up to me what I put in here. I happen to have a project type that I added called retainer-year, so that's perfectly suitable. Open, yep. And then $2,000 a month for 12 months is $24,000. Me and my math, gosh. $24,000. Click Submit. I've landed in the project details page. Here's what we recommend you do from here. We're going to add an estimate/job, and this is going to be just the one we invoice from. The other ones, when the client calls up and says, hey, can you do a poster? We want to track time to that. We don't necessarily need to estimate for it. That's the one we want to track our time to. But the one we want to invoice from, the billing job, as we would call it, we want it to be really clear that it's just the estimated, it's just the $2,000 a month, no matter how much work we do. So we would call this something as simple as billing job. From here, we can really pick anything. We could specify something in here is retainer billing job. Oh, and I've even got one called retainer, so that's convenient. Rate category, I'm going to pick my standard rate. This is the monthly, let's say this is the job we should invoice from each month for $2,000. Delivery date, I can put this as being the end of the next calendar year because that's how long this is going to go for. And then really, I only need to pick one item from here. I need to have at least one thing. I can call it whatever I like. I can have something in here that is named appropriately, or I could just call it, administration. That's easy. And click submit. From here, what I want to do is override. You could put in that it's X number of hours, but what's probably easier is to put in, I can put in either, this is where clients can sort of pick and choose. I can put in the 2,000 because that's what it's going to be each month, or I can put in the 24,000 and then chip away at that each month. Entirely up to you. I'm going to put it in as 2,000. Save. And turn it into a job. Back at the project, I can see now I've got my one estimate and job. And it's very clear that that is the billing job. Next, let's say January rolls around, client calls us up and they say, yeah, we need you to do some work for us. This is going to be part of the retainer. We would just add an estimate as usual. Let's say they've asked for promo posters. Can choose the estimate type. Can choose the rate. Can see again it's already part of that overall project. The due date for this one, is late January. And this one we're going to have some things we actually track time to. We're going to have to do a concept, some design, and some illustration, let's say. If the client wants to see an estimate of how long it's going to take to do this work, or if you want to be able to have those kinds of comparisons for your records, certainly not a bad idea to put in how long you think any of these items are going to take. I'll make that a little bit less. You can also this way see the value of the estimate compared to what you're charging the client each month. We'll hit save. We'll turn this into a job. And our staff members can now track time, put in schedules, task each other, do whatever they need to do to get this work done. We'd continue in this way for the month of January, let's say. Back at the project, let's just say for the sake of time saving that we've got quite a bunch of jobs here for the month of January. We could then say, all right, now we're ready to invoice. Very easily just come into the billing job, add your invoice, it's an interim invoice. We're certainly going to be sending them more over the course of the year. We want to calculate from estimated because that's where we've put in our $2,000. We can choose to apply taxes as needed. You can see the $2,000 is already there for us. we can just save this and send it off. What I like as well in doing things this way is that back at the project, we now can see that we've invoiced 2,000, but we've already estimated 4. So already this retainer isn't working out to be such a great deal for us. You can also, as people track time, have your actuals in there to be compared to. Now, this is doing a retainer for the year. What we've seen some clients do that they prefer is rather than do this for the entire year of 2014, they do this month by month. So they would have a project in the system for January retainer 2014 for the $2,000 or whatever the cost may be, or whatever you're going to be paid, and then open one of those projects up for each month of the calendar year. Really up to you. There are lots of ways to get creative in using the projects, and retainer is just one way to handle, one way to make use of that projects module. Okay, so we're at about half past the hour. Haven't had questions yet, which again, perfectly fine. If questions do arise after we end today's call, please send them our way. Or we do have lots of information in our help and training section about projects. I'd recommend coming into the library. And in the library, we will find a section on projects and retainer jobs there. So everything that I kind of blathered over today is there in writing. All right, everyone. Well, with that, I'm going to let everybody get on with their day. Thanks so much for joining in, though, and hope everyone has a great weekend. Let us know if we can be of any help. We're always glad to assist. Thanks so much, everyone. Have a great weekend. Bye bye.